All right. Hello, everyone. Greetings. Good afternoon. Everyone good? Yeah. All right. So welcome to the first APNIC security session at the APNIC 54 conference. My name is Adli Wahid. I am a security specialist at APNIC. And I'm glad to be here in person to see all of you here in the audience, and as well as perhaps online. We might have online participants as well joining us. And before I begin, I'd like to maybe share a little bit about the session itself. So maybe some of you are wondering, what is this first APNIC security session? Just a bit of history. Maybe 7 or 8 years ago, we decided to organize a special track with the collaboration of the Forum of Incident Response and Security team called FIRST. So if you go to first.org, you can find more information about that organization. We used to also partner with APCERT, the Asia Pacific Computer Emergency Response team. This year, somehow they couldn't make it, but hopefully in the future, we'll partner with them as well. So in the first APNIC security track or security session, normally we will invite those who are part of the incident response community to share their experience, challenges, some highlights. And we try to keep it from within the region, but occasionally we have speakers and presenters from other parts of the world. So for the first in-person session after a couple of years, we have 4 speakers today. So the first 2 will be here in this room, and after the break, we'll move to another room. Maybe there's a bit of confusion afterwards, but we are occupying 2 different places today. For this particular session, we will have 2 presenters. The first one is my good friend, Pratima from BT CERT. And we will also have Henry from TW CERT CC from Taiwan. They are here in person. I'm glad to see them after a long time. So without further ado, I would like to invite Pratima to do her presentation. And let me check quickly. So Pratima is the Deputy Chief ICT Officer. She's from the Bhutan Computer Emergency Incident Response Team, BT CERT. And yeah, Pratima, come on the stage. You want to stand here? So they can see.
This is the forward button, right?
Yeah, point it there.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Very good afternoon, everyone. First of all, before I begin anything, I would like to thank APNIC for providing me the opportunity to be here in Singapore. I am APNIC 54 fellowship recipient, actually a written fellow, and I was also a recipient of APNIC 52 online fellowship. So the journey had been so wonderful. And I would like to thank Adli for making this first in-person conference as not just a fellow, but also a speaker. So thank you so much. And thank you everyone in this room. I am Pratima. I have been working with the Bhutan Computer Incident Response Team since 2020, right before the COVID happened. So, so today my presentation, it will be, okay. So I'll just briefly describe the background, how we started, and the types of incident that we face, and the challenges that that's still there with us in our country. So for those who doesn't know where Bhutan lies, that's the map. It's in between India, China, and in the Himalayas. It's a landlocked country. So yeah. Bhutan Computer Incident Response Team, it is the national CERT. It is not the CERT, it's still a CIRT, a team of 5. And we were established back in year 2016 with the support from International Telecommunication Union, who helped us in doing the security assessment, the baseline security assessment, the readiness assessment for the formation of CERT. And we were financially supported by the World Bank. And that's how we came into existence. In the same year, we were also empowered with the executive order from the government, with the mandate to serve as a trusted and a central point of coordination for all cybersecurity matters at a national level. And at the government level, we also had to take up a proactive role. I'm not sure if it's visible, not too clear, but I will just take you the journey that we have taken since 2016 up until now. Yes, in 2016, we got established, and since then we have been handling incidents and cybersecurity incidences and creating lots of cybersecurity awareness. In 2017, BTCert were able to become member of FIRST and APCert. Adley just talked about what FIRST and APCert are, so I don't think I need to explain it further. And also in 2017, in Bhutan, we had a bigger step of digitalization in the infrastructure. So we had our first government data center established in the year 2017, and we were also asked to be a security monitoring team, a kind of a SOC, but in a very small way. In 2018 and 19, with the help from ATLI and APNIC, BTCert also started at APNIC HoneyNet. We joined their HoneyNet, and then though when we compare on the monetary wise, it was just a small investment, though we had experts helping us, but it did help us in eradicating some of the malware infections. What happened was, like, you know, we could study different kinds of attacks, and we could translate it to our government data center. And in 1 or 2 occasions, we found that similar kind of trends in the government data center, and we were able to prevent the attack. In 2020, we drafted a national cybersecurity strategy. However, we haven't got endorsements, so that's the bad news about the strategy. It's still a work in progress. We are improving on all the at a national level, making it more comprehensive. But however, the good news for us is that for BTCert, we are just a team of 5, and then this, even though it's a draft, but the implementation plans, we are still working on it, and it has become a little kind of a guide for the BTCert team. And in 2020, we became a full-fledged division. Prior to 2020, we were just, even though we were mandated with a big role of serving as the central coordination point, we were still a small unit under a Department of IT and Telecom, and the department itself is one of the department under the Ministry of Information Communications. So you could just visualize that we were very tiny. In 2020, we became a full-fledged division. In 2021, we started with National Cybersecurity Week with generous support from APNIC, from Internet Society, as well as our banking, the Bhutanese banking sector, power sector. We all came together, and then we observed the very first National Cybersecurity Week, which was hybrid mode, even though we were in a pandemic, but the success was compared to other cybersecurity awareness campaign, it was a huge success for us. And in 2022, we collaborated with International Telecommunication Union. They supported us in conducting the first ever cyber drill in our country. It was a joint ITU Bhutan cyber drill, and it was technical, as well as we also called upon our parliamentarians, and overall it went out as a good initiative. And recently, we also became member to the two international groups, CAMP and the Cyber Alliance for Mutual Progress and the Global Forum on Cybersecurity Expertise. Sorry, I'm not too familiar with two of the organization, but we are hoping that we will be working further. Coming back to the key initiatives, I've just mentioned the four, because these are the primary roles that we are playing in our country. As the name suggests, BT-CERT, incident handling and management. So far we have, since 2016, we have been reported around 900 plus incidences. But another service that we have been providing since 2016 is the vulnerability assessment, which I talked before. At a government level, we take up a proactive role, and we do this vulnerability monitoring, periodic vulnerability monitoring of government data center, as well as any new government application system or information system. If that needs to be hosted in our government data center, then it has to go through BT-CERT, the pre-security screening. So yeah, that's the vulnerability assessment. And it's information coordination and advisory alerts. So every time when we receive a different kinds of threats from all over the world, from the experts like Log4j, and we also had this Sophos vulnerability recently, Zimbra mail. So those things we push it as advisory and alerts, as well as also the incidents. If the incidence is something that could impact to other stakeholders, that we also publish through our Facebook page, through our emails, and through our unofficial chat groups, all other channels that we use. And cybersecurity awareness and training. Since 2016, we have been consistently conducting different forms of cybersecurity awareness every year, and training. And we at least conduct 2 technical trainings for all the ICT personnel as well as non-ICT every year. This is just a graph to show the number of incidents that we received every year. In 2016, it looks very high, 220. That's mainly, it's not because at that time there were too many incidents. It was something like the team, we were newly created, and then we started proactively scanning all the networks, all the information systems in the country, and we started recording it. It's not someone reported, it's like we have recorded. That's why the number is so huge. But the trend, it went a little down the next year. That's because when we have this government data center, a government data center is something like a private cloud of town mainly for the government agencies. So lots of security processes were put in place, so the instance has been little down. However, in 2020, we received the number, it slightly increased, because at that time we had a lot of citizens coming to online platforms, and the cases related to social medias, emails, those were the rise at that time. Yeah, when we divide those 900 incidents into group, the incident types is still vulnerable. Like I said before, we do vulnerability assessment consistently, and then when we say vulnerable, we have this issue of unupdated operating system or application systems. So that's why the number is so huge, vulnerable. Then the rest is malicious codes, infected systems. So we do have come across ransomware attacks, so that counts. And the others are mostly on the fraud, like WhatsApp scams, COVID face mask scam, or a vaccination scam, a lot of things. So these are the incident highlights. Even though in our system, it's recorded only 10 ransomware attacks, but it is something we should be very, be ready ahead, because at least there was 2 critical agencies who got ransomware attack. The good thing was that they had their backups, so no service was disrupted, and they could bring back their service within a day or 2. And there were other cases. It was the individuals who got infected with ransomware attack, mainly because they were using a pirated OS, or in one occasion, it was the person who was actually downloading an Adobe, a cracked version, but instead of Adobe, he downloaded a ransomware and everything got encrypted. Sadly, we couldn't help them because they didn't have the backup. What we advised was keep a backup and wait for the decryptor. And in one occasion, we were able to find a decryptor and to help them revive their business. Apart from that, malware, we still have this botnet infection. The issue is with the ISPs and their clients. The issue is with the process, not with the technology, I feel. So we do, even though Avalanche and Andromeda, it's been cleaned up all around the world, we still have some of this infected system because we have very legacy system, and then the owners, they are not aware of updating, or in some occasions, they don't have the budget, they don't have the manpower. That's the issue. And the unpatched Apache or unpatched web services, and insecure HTTP, it also run across most of the government application systems. So that's the highlight here. And apart from that, it's the phishing and scams. We received, like in 2020 and 2021, numerous, starting with the face masks, hand sanitizers, where lots of business, they fell victim of such scam and they lost money. They didn't get this face mask and the sanitizer, instead they just lost money. And then later on, it also went to individual level. WhatsApp OTP scam, there was account takeover from a very high level officials. The mode of trust in Bhutan, we trust each other. So someone's WhatsApp first, it got infected, and it kept on taking over the other, like sharing the OTP. And we also had lots of online investment scam. What I believe is because at that time we had everything shut down, people were losing job, and they were so much excited about any online jobs or online investments. So few of them, they fell victim to online cryptocurrency, where they didn't understand anything about crypto, but they thought that they could bring profits. So they just gave money to some middleman, and then that's how they fell the victim. And yes, also social media influencers. There was a trend, like it was just not one, it was most of the group, their accounts got taken over, got hacked. So those were the cases. And also the sextortion was one thing. The peculiar thing about that was it was mostly the male who reported about those sextortions. I cannot. Oh, yeah. There's just the screenshot of different scams. We also had a fake loan page. This is a government to citizen service page, but it was actually cloned, and it was for the information harvest. But luckily, I think nobody got victim with this. We made it out loud in the social media and all the public forums. That are the WhatsApp scams. And also very funny thing was something like US government, but don't know why we clicked such scams in WhatsApp. Yeah, that's all. And we have a small threat intel platform, and this is something that we have taken out from the threat intel. As you can see, there are some very old ports that have been open, some misconfiguration of our network. And mostly this is the insecure network and system that we face, and systems that are left unpatched, no asset management. Maybe financial institutions, banks have some form of asset management, but the rest of the country, we don't. Absence of log management, mostly network administrator or system administrators, they don't enable logs. Even if the logs are enabled, they don't know how to analyze during the time of incidents, and no proper physical protection. And use of default passwords, simple passwords, or vendor accounts is very common. These are some of the pictures that we of the cybersecurity events. No, we don't have you here, Atlee, but most of the pictures before the pandemic, it was mostly yours. These are during the pandemic era, where we did lots of educational stuff, not only to the working community, but also to the students, to the health workers. And cybersecurity awareness, not only the workshops, we have been creating content in the form of animated videos, comics, and also we have included, they are the celebrities in Bhutan, so we have included them. We have collaborated with them to create more awareness and advocacies. Yeah, so this is my last slide. I hope I'm on time. So these are some of the challenges that we face. Vulnerability and patch management, like I said before, logs, then fake news and data privacy. We don't have a complete segregation of online incidents because there could be a cybercrime or cyberbullying stuff or something to disinformation, misinformation, but everything comes to us and we are not we are not capable of that. We are not trained for that. And also we are not, from the legislation point of view, we don't have the power to handle those kind of incidents. So still that's an issue here. And regarding the policy and strategies in Bhutan, it's slow. I believe it's same across the world, but I feel that maybe we could, in Bhutan, we could do a little quicker because we have very less population and then less departments where we can work together. And coming down to the BT cert, we take multiple hats. We take lots of role. For me, for example, for myself, I am a system administrator, a trainer, or someone policymaker. So you have to take a lot of hats in BT cert. So yeah, that's all. Thank you so much for listening to me. Maybe the question will be later on.
Thank you, Pratima. Don't go yet. We have a few minutes for Q&A. So does anyone have any question for Pratima? Please go to the mic and state your name. And one sec. Those who are online are welcome to ask questions as well. So if you could put your questions in the chat, then we'll take it up. All right, go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your presentation. My name is Mike. I work for the Internet Exchange in Cambodia. Are companies required to report if they have incidences, if they have been broken into or had security breaches? Are banks needing to report to you so you can catalog and work with them?
Your question is something to do, like bank organization, do they report to us?
So does anybody who got have a security incident?
Yes.
Are they needing to report to you?
Constituencies, yes. All any third party or any other organization who comes and work within the geolocated, within the country, yes. They have to report to us, and then we try to help as much.
You have created a framework of laws that requires them to cooperate with you and report those incidences.
Law, it's actually just in the law, I can clearly state that there's just 2 lines that PTCert will be formed and then PTCert will handle all the incidents, policy and procedures. So I'll say that we are not matured enough, even from the law perspective. But we are working on it. But however, we try to provide help and support, not make it like make it a restriction or constraint for somebody doing business. But if they are in problem, then we try to help.
Barry Green, Akamai. I think the reporting thing is something going around the world right now. US has legal requirements now that are coming out. But my question to you is one, the data sets you're getting on who's infected and, like for instance, avalanche and stuff. What's your primary data sources you coming in? What's like another CERT team who wants to like emulate what you're doing with reporting? What sort of data sources are you getting?
We are not matured enough in the threat intel one, which I showed earlier on. We had feeds from Shadow Server and the team Montgomery. We're also working with ITU. They are providing us some free sources for us to learn. First, objectives to learn, but also to secure our country network. And we do have plan, but it may not immediately happen, but implementing MIPS and all other tools. So that's how we can share the information. But right now it's all email based or anything.
And then is there, what's your wish list? Like what would really help out from
my or
like if you had one thing that can really help out with the risk and reducing the risk, what would be?
Like I said, the first one, the vulnerability management, which may not be like a wish list from the outside within my fellow Bhutanese, if they start taking up these security patches very seriously, and then the benchmarking stuff. Mostly what we want at the moment is training, HR development, technical development in those fields.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other question from anyone? Any questions online? All good? All right. So let's give it up for Pratima for the good presentation. Thank you. All right. So up next is Henry Chu, another good friend of mine, of ours from TW Cert CC. Floor is yours. Yeah, just remote. Okay.
Can I
You want to stand here? Yeah.
Yeah. And this one has to go.
Yeah. This is to go forward. Go back. That's probably this one. That way. Okay. Nice.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Henry Chu, and I'm from TW Cert CC. So before I begin, I would like to say thank you to Adli as well for inviting me to speak at APNIC 54. So recently, me and my team have been given the opportunity to investigate and look more into about a particular vulnerability regarding Middlebox. So I'm really excited to share with you all about my topic. Yeah, that's the first page. An anatomy of TCP Middlebox reflection, implication, attack, and mitigation measures. So today I will first talk about my organization, what we are and what we do. And also I will go into a brief history and some background and trends of DDoS attack. And then I'll go into detail about Middlebox TCP reflection implication attack, its detection method, as well as recommendation and mitigation measures. So first up is TW Cert CC. So TW Cert CC is a computer emergency response team coordination center located in Taiwan. And we are the dedicated contact window and focal points when it comes to incident notification and intelligence sharing. As can be seen from the graph here, TWCC is located in the middle. So we are responsible for gathering the intelligence, processing it, refining it, and also facilitate the flow of intelligence between domestic enterprises, cybersecurity organizations, as well as the international cybersecurity organizations. Okay, so as a third organization, we are constantly working on improving the cybersecurity awareness in Taiwan. To do that, we've been working very closely with our valuable international partners to gather the first-hand intelligence and sharing that with our domestic enterprises, helping them to respond to cyber incidents as well as handle vulnerability issues. Last, we also hold constant and regular physical events and using social media to promote the importance of cybersecurity awareness in Taiwan. Just give a rough idea of what we do. So in last year alone, we handled around 1 million threat records, and that's on average about 80,000 records, where the system intrusion accounts for the largest proportion, followed by outbound attack and vulnerability. Next, let's look at DDoS attacks. Some people may know the very first official recognized DDoS happened in 1996. It was targeting a very old, one of the oldest internet service provider, PANGs, and render its service down for several days using SIM flood. And then after that, DDoS has become more and more common for adversaries to use as a mean to launch an attack. And as can be seen from the right figure, Cisco's prediction says that the total number of DDoS attack will probably double from the 7.9 million seen in 2018 to something over 15 million next year, 2023. So we are seeing a rapid increase in a number of DDoS attacks. And we're also seeing the adversaries utilizing bigger botnet resources and launching larger scale of DDoS attacks. For example, 1 gigabit per second is enough to wipe out enterprise server, but we are seeing 1 terabits per second generated by hundreds and thousands and even millions of devices now. The third one is also very concerning, is that the complexity of launching the DDoS is much easier now. So this also coincides with my presentation later, with the vulnerability involving the middle box. You don't really need a very deep understanding of the network package and transmission in order to launch such attack. Okay. So first we need to know what is a middle box. So by definition, a middle box is an in-network device deployed between 2 communication hosts. And it's serving the purpose of monitoring, filtering, or transforming packets in flight. And it utilizes deep packet inspection so that it can look in detail what's inside the payload of the packets. One example of a large deployment of such middle box can be seen in nation-state sensor middle boxes. They are typically located at the nation's border or within the ISPs. And they are meant to be there to identify forbidden keywords or domains in plain text, DNS records, or TLS server name indication fields. So their purpose is to like attempt to suppress the access to information or some kind of websites. So when the middle box encounters a violation packet, it can do one of the many things, including just to drop it, which creates a least overhead, or injecting a reset to break down the connection, or inject false DNS response. And lastly, a lot of the nation state sensor, they inject the block pages. So I have here in bold and underline is because this is particularly problematic because you are increasing the response, the size of the response packet, and this can be potentially leveraged by the adversary to launch an application attack. So here I have a simple graph just to demonstrate the flow of the TCP reflection attack. So first, the hacker would have to construct a TCP request containing victim address as the spoofed source address, so that later the response will be reflected to the victim device. These TCP requests would also need to include in their payload a forbidden resource, so that when the hacker uses the botnet resources to send to the middle box, then the middle box can inspect these and find out about the forbidden resource, and then inject the blocking page into the response and send to the victim device. Okay, so according to the research paper on this, there are actually more than one. There are actually 5 different strategies to launch such an attack. And as can be seen from the table here, the most effective one will be a combination of SYN packet followed by push packet, and it has the response rate of almost 70% from the middle box, and the amplification rate can go up to 7,455 times. The second most effective one is probably the SYN packet, a single one with a GET request in the payload, requesting for a forbidden resource. So this has a lower response rate of 11.4%, but the max amplification rate can go up to 572. So the picture I have on the right is just one of the example of how the SYN packet actually created amplification response from the middle box. So on the very top, the blue circle basically sends 33 bytes of the SYN packet, and then the middle box responded to consequent packets, one with 856, the other one is 1300 in size. So this single SYN packet actually triggered 64 times of the amplification. Here I have a heat map of the world in regards to the number of abusable middle box devices. And this was scan data from Shadowbox from April this year. So as you can see from the color, the one that are closer to red, they indicate more in the quantity of the abusable devices, where the one closest to blue means less in quantity. If we look closely by country, we can see that the most abusable middle box devices, they reside in China with 6.3 million, Iran with 5.2 million, Indonesia with 2.7 million, Russia with 1.5 million, and Turkey with 1.1 million. So this was also suggested in the paper that this could be a result of the nation state sensor middle boxes. If you look closely, in very little letters, you can also see Taiwan near the bottom right corner. So we have about 90,000 abusable devices. Okay, next, let's look at the detection methods. So in the previous slide, I mentioned there were 5 strategies to launch attack, and 2 of them were the most effective. One is a SYN packet with the HTTP GET payload request for forbidden resource. And the other one is a combination of SYN packet followed by the push-X packet, also containing the HTTP GET payload requesting for forbidden resource. So what we do is we basically crafted our own these two types of packets. And with the permission of the domestic enterprises, we send these to their device and record the response from them. And then using the response size, we sum up the payload size we received from the middle box and divide that by the sum of the payload size that we sent from our side. And then we can work out the implication factor. And then we provide these to the domestic enterprises as a reference for them to see if their vulnerability issue has been resolved. Here are two example screenshots of the rescan results. So the first one is the same packet, and it's maybe a little bit small, but the payload that we sent was 56 bytes. And then we received 1,248 bytes from the middle box, and that was 23 times the implication factor. The second one is a bit interesting. We send the same packet followed by the push packet, and the server actually replied with a very big block page, which was fragmented into 6 different packets, and it was sent repeatedly for 6 times. So eventually we had 42,828 bytes, and then divide that by the packet we sent. The size of it is 52, which you have the implication factor of 823 times. Okay, so here I have an overview of middle box vulnerability status in Taiwan. So you might remember from the heat map and also by country, the number of abusable devices in Taiwan, it was said to be 90,000. But during our investigation, we discovered that these unique IP addresses, they are actually the device IPs that are hiding behind the middle box. So it does not really or necessarily reflect the actual number of vulnerable middle box devices. So what we did is we did some processing. So we remove the duplicated ASN and also the same application factor from the same testing methods. So eventually we were able to get about 1,000 vulnerable middle boxes in Taiwan. So this was data from July. And on the bottom left figure, I have put here a distribution of the implication factors from these vulnerable middle box devices. As you can see, they sprawl from 1 to 250, but with most of the implication factors fall under 60. Yeah, so TWCert actually tried really hard to reach out to all these middle boxes owners and tell them to try to fix it. And we're really happy that a lot of them, we actually have received a request to do a rescan after they have undergo the mitigation measures we suggested. So on the right, we can actually see from the rescan result that actually 97% of these middle boxes were resolved. Okay, so lastly, I'll go to recommendation and mitigation measures. Here I have 2 parts. The first one is more about the general safe use of or deployment of middle box devices. The first one is, since a middle box can be deployed in many different ways, it doesn't necessarily can receive traffic from both sides, like downstream and upstream. So you need to ensure the middle box can receive traffic in both directions. So in the example of TCP connection, then you can make sure you can check that the connection is actually valid. The second one is simplify the block page if you have to have one, so that it will minimize the implication factor. Or personally, I think might be better is you can set up the block page on another server and then just have a reply package with the redirect to that page. The second part is about the protection policy for this kind of attack. The first one is to create a filtering policy to drop the sync packets with payload. So theoretically, sync packages, they're used to initiate the connection. So they don't need to have the payload in it. But a lot of the attack packets using this method, they have payload requesting for forbidden source. So that's why it triggered the middle box to look into it and processing those payloads. So one way to mitigate this is just to simply drop any SIM package with the payload in it. The second one is geo-IP filtering. If you have the geo-IP information of your organization, it will be one of the effective way to prevent this kind of attack. The third one is you can set up the firewall ACL rules. So here I have an example from APNIC. Basically, here it says to deny the sync packet reaching at 80 port 80 with a size greater than 100. So I think I would recommend this to see this as a reference, because every organization may have a different threshold to make it more appropriate for themselves. During our experiment, we found out that we could actually trigger this type of attack with a much smaller packet, like 50 or 30, which is all possible. So these are all the things that needs to consider to make an effective firewall ACL rule. Okay, so that concludes my presentation. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Henry. That was a very interesting presentation. We still have a lot of time, so I would like to invite questions or feedback from the audience. Just go to the mic, let us know your name and your affiliation. That would help.
Good afternoon. I'm Manoj Adhikari from Bhutan. Thank you, Henry, for the wonderful presentation, and Pratima as well. My thing is not much of a question, but more of a confusion, because I don't know how it works back in Taiwan or any other certs, but in Bhutan, the cert is owned by government. A government owns a cert. So the cert is a government entity. So I come from an enterprise network. So actually, I'm the potential victim out here, right? So my concern out here is whether the cert should be a committee-driven entity, or should it be a government-owned or maybe privatized? The question I ask this is because I have seen that people move out, right? Staff iteration, it's everywhere as much as it's in government jobs as well. So when an expert, let's say after 10, 15 years moves and from the company, they basically leave the company, they don't come back. But if it is a community, I feel they will help you if it's a community, no matter where they are. Let's say they're in Australia, US, but they will always be a part of the CERT team. So I have a confusion, and I wanted to put it out not only to you, to everyone out here, whether the CERT should be owned by a company, a government, or should it be a community-driven entity? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a very interesting question. So in my opinion, I think it can probably go hybrid. I do think that we need resources from the government and also comply with their policy in terms of security. But I also agree that we need to have some sort of community to constantly providing our resources and help for the domestic enterprises. So for that reason, WCC, we actually have a alliance which we can help the domestic enterprises, because in Taiwan, a lot of the enterprises are small to medium. They don't necessarily have the capability or even have a security engineer to help them solve when there is there's a cyber incident happening. So that's the reason why we actually created such an alliance, and we constantly share our expertise and resource, and also try to help them handle when they don't have the resource to. Yeah.
Right. Yep. Next.
Barry Green from Akamai, to also add to his question and what he just recommended. we have a richness in Asia Pacific of the diversity. So my doing incident response work for decades, it has to tune to Bhutan, it has to tune to Indonesia, it has to tune to like slide 3, where you showed the diagram of
Yes.
your relationship within the community. You know, it's impressive. You go to Japan, you see the same thing. You go to South Korea, you see the same sort of thing, right? So that's the core recommendation. It has to fit for your needs. And then you have organizations like first.org to help with this, right? So that's a help
Yeah.
with that part.
Thank you.
right?
Thank you for.
To take advantage of groups like APNIC and Apricot to learn, but don't copy, make it fit you, what you need, all right? Now, to the good work you guys did, how, as part of the team working on the middle box and identifying it behind the scenes after the academic paper came out, one advice to everybody here is if you're not subscribed to Shadow Server's daily reports, subscribe to Shadow Server's daily reports. One of the reports that was created is the middle box on your network. So you can see which devices on your network today, and that's free. You sign up for the daily reports, you get them an email, you got the API, you can see all the middle boxes. So that helps clean up. It helps make their job easier. Second
Very
is
much.
the vendors now, when the research came out, the vendors, I was shocked. Cisco, Juniper, Fortinet, Sonic Wall, they all were like, huh, what? This isn't a problem. And then in Akamai, we kind of said, okay, this could be a problem. We redid the test. We found out it was much worse than we thought. We work with the industry, the CERT teams, right? But they are now, you can talk to them and say, where's the patch? Where's the patch? Because there's some of the recommendations, you couldn't really do it on the box. The vendors have now responded. So call the vendor in. If you got a firewall, if you got a load balancer, if you got any of these filtering devices, call the vendor in and say, okay, what are you doing about this? I need to fix it. So you got the list of who's infected. You can call the vendor in now. But to you, that slide 18, where you called everybody up, tell me more, because that was great work, right? Because that's always the hardest part, as you heard the previous speaker. It's always the hardest part of like calling somebody up and getting them to do the work of clean it up, because that was, you know, compliments. That's a lot of cleanup.
I have one interesting insight to share. Thank you for that. So when we notify the domestic enterprises and tell them about Middlebox, how it's potentially can be used for DDoS attack, the very first reaction that we got was like, oh, is this really serious? Is it really that serious? Because in their point of view, they are not really the victim. Like they're not in the receiving end of the DDoS. I mean, they could be, but in most cases, probably they are not. So to themselves, maybe they have a much lower priority to fix this vulnerability. But as a CERT organization, we see that it's very important for everyone to really care about maintaining like a safe or very secure cyberspace. So we have to keep convincing them or call them multiple times to convey the importance of, you know, like you need to fix your middle box, your devices, and keep it safe. Yeah. So that was the whole working process. It's not all compliments.
Yep, next.
Hi, Mike again from CNX. For Taiwan, sir, is there any mechanism that when you detect a DDoS attack through such methods that you can actually work with the transit providers or the domestic exchanges to block that? Is there any mechanism that you have developed to stop an ongoing attack?
We have some domestic ISPs that we collaborate with, and we have partners. We don't do that ourselves. So we are contacting our partners to do that, to help us defend on that. Yeah. Hi.
So I'm Azhar, and I'm one of the APNIC community trainer. I really liked your presentation. That was
Thank
pretty
you.
Good. I'm just trying to understand something. So you mentioned some of the techniques you're using for mitigation of the amplification factor for your middle box, and so I'm trying to understand, are you happy with the results, because to me, most of these techniques you mentioned, these are legacy, and I don't see more with like bringing in like the traffic patterns analysis and the AI, or taking help from that. So is it because of some latency issues, or is it because some other reasons? Are you happy with these legacy, the
Yeah, because there are so many different types of middle boxes. So it really would have to go back to the comment before, like it'll be vendor specific on their recommendations and suggestions on how to actually fend off such attacks. So I was only giving like a general recommendation and suggestion. I really suggest to go to vendor specific suggestions. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Any question? Any other question? Oh, Barry has one.
So I think one of the things to put on the agenda for another CERT team to bring in, to the question he had, is there a way where a national CERT team, there's a DDoS attack happen in a country, and get every operator to respond, right? Something that is a national level of others. I don't know if people know about others. Others is a system where you can push it out globally, run by Team Cymru. But the CERT team to look at is Finland. The Finnish organization, if somebody hits any DOS attack in Finland, they can actually push out a remote target black hole or a flow spec rule to the edge of every service provider in Finland as a defensive measure. So many times, people say, oh, let's look at places like America. So no, look at Finland, look at South Korea, look at Taiwan. They got really healthy, good, strong CERT organizations with it. So Finland is a good country, and they will share with any CERT team and service provider, here's exactly how we do it. They're very collaborative.
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
We still have a couple of minutes. Any question from this side? This side has been a bit quiet. No, all good. A short one, quick one. Yeah.
This is Manoj back, and sorry, because of heavy lunch, I forgot the second question that time. Henry, and it goes to all the CERT. I just wanted to know a question on terms of prevention is better than cure. So to protect all this, let's say now the thing is going like everyone is going for 27,001 certification, right? Even APNIC has done recently. So and here one important factor is VAPT. So when this VAPT and ISO 27001, should it be driven by BT CERT? I mean, the CERT teams, the national CERTs, should they take the first lead, because it's a huge cost to whoever is going for it? So do you think the VAPT and the ISO 27001 certification should be like driven by CERT team, which is the prevention for the ultimate disaster that we're going through? So that's my question, a short one.
Okay. That's a very interesting question. Yeah, I have to think about that actually. So maybe after this presentation, I can maybe talk to you and more about this. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. During tea break, coffee break. All right. So let's give it up for Henry once again, and also Pratima, presented earlier. So before you go for a tea break or coffee break, quick reminder, the next session, we're still not finished. We still have 2 speakers, but the next session will be in the next room, in ballroom 1, I think, in the next one. So please go over there to continue with the security discussion. And one more thing, during the break, we have the AP Asia Pacific Music Quiz here online with Dale. So please join us if you are available and free. But if you need coffee, we can grab one outside. So thank you everyone for participating. See you in the next session. Thank you.
You just tell me.
Okay, just testing if you can hear me. Can this be heard in the room
Yes.
virtually?
can hear you
Fantastic.
loud and clear.
That is great.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
well, thank you. Good afternoon, Singapore and APNIC 54, everybody there joining live in person. And of course, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are joining from around the world, if you are joining us virtually. My name is Dale, I'm from APNIC, and welcome to day 2 of the Asia Pacific Music Quiz. We had one yesterday, so this is day 2 today. So for those who haven't joined before, you need to go to the Kahoot website, which you can see up on your screen now, which is kahoot.it or kahoot.it. And you need to just put that little code in, the 841-7061. So 7064, that would make more sense because that's the code. I'm sure you can all see it there. And once you've joined in, you choose a nickname. Now, if you have a nickname that is close to your actual name, that will be helpful for us to identify you for prizes if you do make the top 3. So I know we had 3 excellent people yesterday, and I see some names coming back today that were in it yesterday for another go, which is great to see. So please, put your nickname in there. And that means just anything that we can use to identify you will just a little bit easier, but there'll still be a way to get your prizes. For those who do get a prize yesterday, we will be getting those out to you at the end of the conference. So don't worry if you haven't received that yet. So yeah, please join. We've got tool 21, which is fantastic. We'll just give it another minute to allow people to join. For those of you who haven't used Kahoot before, essentially, you're going to have multiple questions that come up on the screen, and you just have to choose the answer. So you can just have a guess. If you don't know it, it's fine. You can have a guess, which is great. Also, the quicker that you answer, the more points you get. So you can need to choose if you want to answer really quickly and get lots of points, or take your time and try and figure it out from here. Now, it is the music quiz. A lot of the questions will just be straight questions, but some of them do have a little bit of music we might play beforehand. But if there's something wrong and you can't hear or there's a lag, it won't affect. You'll still be able to answer the question. Just hearing it might just help a little bit as well. So if you are virtual, you might want to have your headphones on, which hopefully you do. So hopefully you're hearing what I'm saying. All right. Well, we got 28 here, and I think we might get started. Oh, there's a few people just joining, so maybe I'll just give it 10 more seconds. All right. Now, for the very first question, we are going to actually play music with it. So we'll need to just hear that little bit of music, and then the question will come afterwards, okay? So the music will play, and then there'll be a question about it afterwards. All right. Well, let's get started. Good luck, everybody. Let's see how we go. Just have a little listen to this for a bit. All right, well, let's go to the question that's related to that bit of music. With 1.6 billion views, Jas Manak song Lega is from which economy? So 1.6 billion views, which is a huge amount. Apparently it's the second most viewed video on YouTube from this economy. I'm not going to say what it is until we'll get the answers in. Get your answers in. It was India. Oh, excellent. Well done. Most people got that right. Congratulations. 36. Right, let's move on to the next one. We'll find out who is winning at this stage. Michelle Jackson, maybe, not Michael, hopefully not, is tied with Hosk and Parry in 3rd place. Nafisa was in it yesterday. Good luck. Next question. This is a true or false. Olivia Newton-John sang at the 2000 Sydney Olympics. Is that true or is that false? The late, great Olivia Newton-John, she sang at the 2000 Olympics. That's a statement. Is that right? Or is that wrong? 50-50 here. So I think a lot of you will do well. Oh, it's so 30 out of the 41. Very well done. It was true. She did sing at the 2000 Sydney Olympics. All right, so let's look at the leaderboard. Hoska's still in the lead, and Nafisa's up to second place, and Hamna in third. All right, next question. All right, Sugiyaki was a global hit in the 1960s, but in which language was it sung? Huge hit around the world, even really big in America, where they had to give it a different name because they couldn't understand the original name of it. Sorry for any Americans in the house. It was Japanese. So yes, 34 of you got that right as well. Well done. You're doing much better than the group yesterday. No offense to the group yesterday. So well done. But we have a new leader. Nafisa has taken the lead from Hos, just behind, very close, with Amina in third place. Right, let's go to the next question. All right, Eric Cho is a well-known singer from where? Where's Eric from? So there's Thailand, Taiwan, Brunei, Fiji are the options. Where is he from? Eric is from Taiwan. Well done if you got that right. I believe he actually played in Singapore on the weekend. So maybe some of you got to catch that before the wonderful APNIC 54. So let's take a look at the leaderboard. Oh, we've had a change. Amina has taken the lead from Ant in second and SA in third place. All right, we have another bit of music to play for you next. So make sure you just listen and watch. It might give you a clue to the question coming up afterwards. All right, that's the music clip. Here comes the question related to that. Which economy had their public health song about COVID-19 go viral? For not the greatest word to use around from COVID is for viral, but it did. It went off, and it is a really catchy song. I've been playing this video all day. I love this song. So which one was it? Was it Vietnam, Papua New Guinea, Bangladesh, or Indonesia? It was Vietnam. A catchy little song there, and it did go viral indeed. 28 of you got that right. What's that done to the leaderboard? All right, Amina, we haven't had much change there. It's all fast fingers at the moment, so you're going to have to be quick on these answers, I reckon. Okay, next question. All right, Fifth Harmony singer Dinah Jane sang the national anthem at the Rugby League World Cup for which team? So Fifth Harmony, big American singer. She sang the national anthem for which team? You might have a clue in that picture if you're good at your flags. It was Tonga. So if you know your flags, it was Tonga. So she actually has Tongan heritage, and she sang the national anthem for them at the Rugby League World Cup when they made the semi-finals. Good luck to them in this World Cup coming up soon. All right, what's that done? I reckon that might have changed things. Oh, no, it looks like no one got that right on the leaderboard. So people might be catching up just behind. Well, it looks like Bebap is the highest climber there. Let's move on to the next question. Right, Mehdi Farouk is a singer from where? Is he from Nepal, Maldives, Afghanistan, or Thailand? Where's Mehdi Farouk from? Hopefully no one's Googling, but you know, take honesty is the best policy here. All right, let's have a look. He's from Afghanistan, 18 got it right. 16 went for Nepal there, so that might change the leaderboard. Let's have a look. Oh, we have. So SA, I've mentioned that's initials. And me is second. And a Eurovision fan is a third. I love Eurovision. So whoever that is might just be making fun of me. All right. Well, let's go on to the next one. Again, there'll be a bit of music played before the question. Right, some pretty good skills there. Now that person was playing the ranatek, which is an instrument from where? It's Thailand, China, Japan, or Indonesia? Get your answers in. 7 seconds to go. We've got most answers. Someone's curiously working it out. And the answer was Thailand. Some people went for Indonesia, but it was actually Thailand there. I can understand, yeah, there's some similarities there. Let's see what that did to the scoreboard. Me has, not myself, obviously, has gone to the first place from Eurovision fan, and Mohammed in third place, but still very, very close. All right, next question. Second last one. So Lang Lang is a famous pianist who has performed at the Olympics. Where is he from? So excellent player of the piano. Where is Lang Lang from? So Japan, China, Australia, or South Korea? Right. And the answer is China. So he performed at the Beijing Olympics back in 2008 and did a song this year as well for the Winter Olympics there as well. 23 of you got that right. So looks like about half of you didn't quite get that one. So no worries. We're coming to the last question. But who is winning? Oh, not too much movement there. Me is still in the lead, but still anyone in those kind of top few can win. Not everybody, but those top few there. Anyway, last question. Right, Psy had a global hit with Gangnam Style, which was about a district in which city? So Gangnam is a district in which city? Because that's what the song was about, the lifestyle of this district. So Psy had a huge hit with that song. How long ago? It's about a decade now? Getting old. All right, the answer is Seoul is the answer in South Korea there. So most of you got that right. Well done, everyone, on that one. So let's look at the final standings. In third place, 9 out of 10, Mohammed. Well done. That's very good. Great score, 9 out of 10 as well. But me, fastest fingers. And the winner is the Eurovision fan. Wow, there you go. And also, commiserations to Simon, and I've just missed who came 5th place there as well, so just missing out on that one. Now, if you're one of those top 3, you are eligible for a prize. I think we'll be able to work out we'll have a look at the participants and know if there's more than one Mohammed. It might be hard, so we'll have a look, but also if you could reach out just to let me know if you got in that top 3 and we can make sure you got that prize. I'll put my email address in the chat. It's dale@apnic.net. Thank you everyone for playing today. You all did very well. A couple of higher scores than yesterday, so I think we'll make it a little bit harder for tomorrow. So the final quiz will be on tomorrow at the same time. Thank you very much for everyone for joining in. Enjoy the rest of the session today, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you.